Yeah, I apologize. I've done several takes, and there's no way for this not to sound a little rampy. So, there's a particular video format and a particular argumentation style I've seen on the internet that I think is doing things incorrectly. It's a wrong overall strategy. And basically what it is they'll do a video response where they'll play a portion of that video they're responding to until a point is made. Then they'll make a point against it, and then they'll have the video keep going until another point is made, and then they'll attack that point. And often it's the first time they've seen that video. My problem with that is severalfold. One is sometimes people who are normally wrong about things make good points. But are you going to argue against them just because they made a point? Because the problem with the format is that the format is set up to where you attack every single point made. So if they make either a good point or a kind of good point or a point that you don't understand, because if the person doing the video response doesn't understand the point, they'll often try to argue against it anyway to keep the format going to disastrous results. So yeah, sometimes they make good points, which this is not against any particular YouTuber. This is just against a particular style video format. Another problem is that when critiquing a particular viewpoint, you need to understand both the point, which is, a lot of people don't even go that far. They don't even go as far as to understand what the person's conclusion is before attacking it. They're like halfway hear a conclusion and then attack it, and then they strawman the person because they didn't do the homework. And that's not the problem with this format, is that you're not able to do the particular homework to not only find out what the person's conclusion is, find out what their premises are. What is the reasoning behind their conclusion? You need that before you can attack the conclusion. So people are lazy on the internet, and this video format, which in my opinion is lazy, doesn't allow for the homework to be done to make a proper argument. But the main sentiment behind this video format that I don't like, that I think is wrong logically, is the idea of this person's my enemy, so I have to attack every point they make. Instead of this person has particular reasoning, and I think it's incorrect. Here's my well thought out argument as to why it's incorrect, that I've spent a lot of time and worked hard to make sure it was a good argument before presenting. I didn't just present it on the fly after halfway hearing their argument for the first time. So yeah, you shouldn't just try to attack every single point that your opponent makes. You should only attack it if you actually have a good argument. Another way to see it visually is like a foundation. Before you make an argument or a counter-argument, you need to make sure that you're standing on concrete, standing on something solid. And the problem with these kind of off-the-fly video responses is that I don't feel like they're making sure that they're standing on solid ground before making their arguments. I think sometimes they get a little sandy. I mean, a lot of these people who do these formats are people who I agree with on a lot of things. Like, they'll argue against someone who's like a creation scientist, and I'm totally against creation science. But they'll do this format, and then they'll make sandy foundation arguments. And if you don't get the metaphor, if it comes from a story from the Bible where someone built their house on sand and the house fell. The metaphor is that if you have a really good argument, you have a good foundation, so the argument that is your house will not collapse. Whereas if your argument is just terrible, you have a sandy foundation, and the house that is the metaphor of your crappy argument will collapse with that sandy foundation. If you didn't get the reference. But yeah, that's the point. You should only make an argument if you've done the work first. Don't attack just to attack. Don't argue just to argue. Make sure you've done the work first. That is all.